Hey, I'm Lauren. I wanted to talk about minimalism today because it's had such a big impact in my life. Recently, I was in California. I had a surgery and I was in a hotel room and I was able to rest. I slept for the better part of 7 or 8 days and it was very simple. And there just wasn't a whole lot of tasks for me to do in that hotel room. I had a lot of fun going out to eat. I had to buy new bras. I had to watch some great shows. I got to rest. And for me, minimalism, slow living, frugal living, even early retirement has been following this theme. So many different themes that have come up for me when I started to become a minimalist. And a lot of that's just around safety, getting out of survival mode, and really living the life I want. For someone like me who grew up in a house full of chaos and noise, the question of how do I stop constantly distracting myself has come up over and over again. I have been into minimalism since 2000 and have been on a roller coaster. I have decluttered and recluttered many times. I have thrown minimalism to the wind a few times and decided I'm going to be a maximalist again and gone on large shopping sprees, whether it's furniture, decor, clothing, kitchen items, bathroom items, makeup, whatever it might have been. I don't really fault myself for those things. We live in a world of marketing, and I believe there are beautiful, wonderful things that are worth having in the world. And something that has come up for me lately is that I'm tired of consuming content if it's fear-based or negative. There's nothing wrong with having some contrast in your life, right? I always say that negative experience shows us what we want and what we don't want. So making mistakes, buying too much, decluttering, and going through seasons of life where I need certain things and where I don't need certain things is just life. That's part of life, and it doesn't need guilt and shame around it. This channel is about becoming the best version of yourself and having safety within yourself. I grew up with anxiety. I didn't have a solid sense of self. I felt pressure around popularity and being liked. I grew up as a people pleaser, and I ended up actually becoming an addict, alcoholic myself. Thankfully, my parents had an intervention for me. I got sober at 24 years old and I'm 43 now. I have 2 beautiful girls who've never seen me inebriated, and I'm so grateful for the gift of sobriety in my life. Shortly after getting sober is when I found minimalism and early retirement content. I read Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. I went to a seminar at my local credit union and I was able to follow it for about a month in graduate school. I saved $1,000 and then I took $3,000 and I invested in the stock market for the first time at 28 years old. And I followed Warren Buffett. I was doing really well. But because of the way I grew up and some of the negative money scripts and overconsumption that I had grown up with, I wasn't able to maintain that growth. However, I started a business with my ex-husband, was very successful, and then through that was able to consume and invest at the same time. That is totally great, but for me was unsustainable when I burnt out as a trauma therapist. I became a stay-at-home mom, and we did so much so fast with my ex-husband, and our relationship bore the brunt of that weight. Now that I'm a single mom and semi-retired early, still working on the fourplex in Florida that hopefully will support me once the business buyout is complete, I'm realizing there's a lot more to minimalism and frugality and joyful living that I'm discovering now. That's the thing about life, right? There's always more. There's always more to learn. There's always more to grow into. We grow and change. My first major in college was interior design, and sometimes I feel like maybe that was more in alignment with who I really am than who I became as a social worker. And I became a social worker in an effort to save, right? To save my childhood self, to save my family, to save others. And having a savior complex is wonderful, but also can be a recipe for disaster when you're giving 100% and not keeping anything for yourself. So minimalism for me has just been the touchstone that I always come back to when life feels overwhelming and a little bit out of control. I grew up with so much stuff, so much mess, and parents or a mother who was constantly stressed. And I wish I could say that a lot has changed in my family's life around stuff. And I think it has to some extent. We all get older and mature in different ways. But I'll say that minimalism has been a touchstone I come back to over and over again. For me, it has been a place of safety, a place of regulation, and a place to grow from once again. Life doesn't just stay static. We pendulate through periods of time of lots of action and periods of rest. And so right now I'm making this video because I'm wanting to be productive. So I wanted to talk about the top 5 reasons becoming a minimalist really helped me with early retirement and saving money. Every dollar you don't spend is working for your future self. And I know Morgan Housel talks about this all the time. When you put $100 into savings, that's your future self. When I was focusing on early retirement, I thought of it that way. Every $2,000 I put away every month, sometimes 4, into our retirement savings was putting that into my early retirement fund. People focus on earning more, but spending less on things that don't matter often has a bigger impact. So the reason I talk about frugality can have a bit of a negative connotation to it, right? But for me, frugality is actually just saying, this is more important to me than this, and I'm going to spend more here in a joyful way and less on maybe decor. So I thought for a long time decor and my house looking perfect was what I needed. Probably the least important thing to me now. I have a bit of the 90s nostalgia bug of an older millennial, so I follow pages that show older homes with the oak cabinets and the Formica countertops and the yellow phone with the cord hanging on the wall. I get a little gaga for that. So I appreciate all styles. I'm not a big upgrader. I'm not a millennial gray fan, although I will say the condo that I rent probably they are a fan of that. But the way that my home looks, as long as it's clean, as long as it's cozy, as long as it's comfortable, is really all that matters to me. Minimalism isn't deprivation. It's just feeding my future self. Number 2, you will need less money to be happy than you think. I think that when I have spent impulsively in the past and added up my Amazon cart, and it was in the $800 to $1,100 range per month, and I really couldn't tell you what I bought. Less is definitely more. I did renew my Amazon account this past year in April, but I have it set to not renew in the following April. I have found that for me, that just simply having it, it's just not in alignment with my future saving plan for now. It's very convenient. Living on Oahu, it's amazing to be able to get something in a few days. I find that in these economic times, it might be best for me to do without some things, some DIY, or go to the store and get it if I really need it. Putting more friction in my life has saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I recommend putting friction in your life between your shopping and your buying. It means that you'll get to financial independence earlier, depending on what your goals are. One of the key things that keeps people from getting to their goal is not having that clear goal. What is my number? What am I saving for? And budgeting each category, including fun money, and sticking to that. Having a budget and knowing what you have each month and what is coming and going and what you can afford to spend on clothing or fun outings or vacations is important. I can only tell you this from someone who didn't do that for a really long time, got into consumer debt and paid a lot of interest to big companies and took away pieces of my future. Number 3, less stuff is more time. And I gave you the hotel example where when you're in a hotel and there's not a whole lot to do, you're either resting, catching up on your favorite shows, taking a nice long bath, going to the pool, going out to eat with friends, getting out into the world and having experiences and having a quiet place that is not calling you to do anything when you come back to it. So less really is more. And there's a few channels that I follow, A to Zen Life, where she has almost nothing in her house. No rugs, nothing on the countertops. She's eliminated a lot of kitchen gadgets because taking care of each little thing just created too much anxiety for her. And similarly to me, she grew up in a household with addiction, and some of us just need less, and less really can be more. For someone with a very quick overstimulation button, less is definitely more in my space, even though I would love to have a cozy castle. I watch those shows on the renovation of the chateaus in France on YouTube. Maybe someday, just not today. Number 4, minimalism reduces financial stress. This cannot be emphasized enough. When I read Your Money or Your Life, I read about the waitress who retired within 11 years on $60,000 a year and how she had 3 dresses. She had a laser focus on what she wanted to do and was able to save. I think she lived on $11,000 a year, saved the rest of that money, got to her FI number. I think she had invested in dividend stocks. So from her $800,000 that she had invested, was able to live off of $2,500 a month. And then she had the opportunity to work or not work. Yeah, there are places in the world where that is plenty of money. So figuring out what your goal is going to reduce your financial stress. When I know I'm not bringing stuff in and out of the house, and I say no to things, and I tell myself the store is holding all of my precious things that I could potentially have. There is a storage facility already with my stuff. It's already in the store. I don't need to bring it into the house. So I tell myself that quite a bit. And actually not spending becomes more addictive over time. Number 5, and probably one of the most important things that minimalism has taught me, is that I am building a life I don't need to escape from. I retired early and I live on Oahu in Hawaii. I came to Hawaii for the first time at 24 years old. I had no money. And I remember the first time I had gone on a hike and I was sitting over Waimea Canyon in Kauai, and this voice came to me and it said, "You're gonna live here." And I felt like I was at home. And I knew I wanted to live here. I knew I wanted to retire early. I didn't exactly know how long that was gonna take, but at 39 years old, I moved to Oahu. So just know that it's about owning your time. This is probably the biggest reason right here. I live a life of leisure. I woke up today when I wanted to. The cats woke me up. I get to sit here and make videos for you guys and for myself. I get to spend time with my kids at the pool and at the beach. We do have a budget for the kids for fun money. They're going to art camp next week. They love this art camp down the road, and there are things that are worth the money. Art camp is definitely worth it. My trip to California was worth it to me. My fourplex in Florida, one of my units is going to be rented. We are going to be doing additions to my Airbnb pretty soon, a hot tub for the fall and winter. If you're in St. Augustine, Florida, and you'd love to stay there, please reach out. If you're new to minimalism and frugality, retire early content, I would love a follow. I would love a subscribe. It helps push out this new creator. So I was monetized on TikTok and making some decent money over there, but I have switched to long form content and stepped away from TikTok because I'm not sure about the health of short form content these days. I want to do this because it's more in alignment with who I really am and what I want to be and what I want to do. Thank you for joining me. Follow along for more. And I hope your minimalism journey and financial independence journey is going well. Yes, it is still possible in 2026. Mahalo.